Helen, welcome to the program. I'm Amarachi Uvani. We have so much to talk about on the program today, but let's begin with a review of major news and headlines on the continent over the weekend.
On Saturday, dozens of demonstrators gathered in Tunis to protest against what they have described as racial discrimination and hate speech directed at migrants. The demonstrators chanted slogans including "Down with Fascism," "Tunisia is African soil," and "O God of the Italians," expressing their rejection of what they see as the exploitation of migration policies and European pressure to curb the flow of migrants towards the northern Mediterranean. This issue has divided Tunisian public opinion between those calling for compassion towards migrants and those expressing concerns about the economic, social, and security implications. Meanwhile, the Tunisian supporters have expressed frustration as the national team's dismal World Cup campaign continued after a 4-0 loss to Japan, ending any hopes of qualifying for the next round. Many Tunisians expressed their dissatisfaction with the team's performance, emphasizing that they had hoped to see a different response following the change in the team's coaching staff. Fans also noted that the problems facing the team go beyond the coaching setup, calling for a broader review of the country's football system. The 2026 FIFA World Cup run from June 11 until July 19, and it is hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Still on Saturday, foreign ministers from the Confederation of Sahel states condemned what they call foreign-backed destabilization efforts during talks in Bamako as the bloc reviewed its diplomatic work. Mali's Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop said that attacks on member states were designed to derail the Confederation's drive for sovereignty and shared development. He added that the meeting offered an ideal setting to assess work carried out under the roadmap's diplomacy pillar. While Niger's Foreign Minister Bakari Sangare said the bloc would not be knocked off course by last Thursday's attack on Diori Hamani International Airport in Niamey, with Burkina Faso's Foreign Minister Karamoko Traoré claiming the review show further progress on diplomatic coordination and institutional building. And on Sunday, foreign ministers of Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan held a four-way meeting to discuss the US-Iran agreement since the signing of the Islamabad Memorandum. In a joint statement, the ministers called the memorandum a constructive and important development, urging a swift conclusion to the next phase of negotiations. They also say that the talks must take into account the security and stability of Arab Gulf states and the Middle East region in order to consolidate the region's stability in the long term.
To other stories now, Nigeria's acting High Commissioner to South Africa, Alexander Temitope Ajayi, has assured Nigerian nationals that plans to repatriate citizens wishing to return home remain in place despite a temporary suspension caused by operational constraints. Ajayi made the remarks while addressing concerned and frustrated members of the Nigerian community in Pretoria, many of whom had gathered to seek assistance with voluntary repatriation. The development comes as the June 30 deadline approaches and amid heightened debate over immigration in South Africa. Our correspondent Innocent Samosa has more.
As a response to growing concerns among some Nigerians living in South Africa, community organizations have called on affected citizens to assemble here at the Nigerian High Commission in Pretoria. Now, we are told that this gathering is intended to provide support, information, and of course assistance to those who may require help. Well, Nigerian Acting High Commissioner Alexander Timitope Ajayi says that their priority is the welfare and dignity of Nigerians living here in South Africa while continuing to foster positive relations with South Africans.
We had started screening for about 3 to 4 weeks now, and it was going on smoothly. We've captured a lot of people because we are not doing it. We are not allowed to do it alone. We were asked to do it with the host government, and that's what we did. And that is why we issued notification and said everybody should come forward for screening.
Ambassador Timitope says the repatriation is not cancelled, but temporarily suspended due to operational reasons.
Please, contrary to insinuations that are going on, that this has been cancelled, the repatriation has not been cancelled. It's going on, is only temporarily what? Suspended. You understand? And if you are all a social media person, isn't it? You are reading news. Our honorable minister was asked last week that when is this, and he assured everybody that before May 30th, June 30th, everybody will be evacuated.
Are you satisfied with what the ambassador said to you this morning?
We're not satisfied because a date, we were expecting to hear a concrete answer. He gave us technical answers. A date was not given. It still left Nigerians uncertain. It still threw them into more confusion.
We will say we are satisfied. We are going to take the word of the government for it, and then hoping that between now and the given date, that our people will receive the intervention as we are appealing to our government to do so. It's not a protest, it's not a fight, it's an appeal. We acknowledge their good work, we acknowledge their intervention so far.
Community representatives have also appealed for calm, urging all parties to reject violence and embrace dialogue, mutual respect, and the spirit of Pan-Africanism.
So there's no need for South Africans to be violent and harass people. The government and the government of Nigeria, South African government and the government of Nigeria have both listened and they are doing this job. So people must just be calm and they must not even think of spilling blood just because of a single thing, a document. Because this thing is not happening to the white foreign nationals who are illegal in this country. It is only happening to our fellow black people. So South Africans must be calm, must not harass the people, because the people are willing to go home. So why should you always insult them? You know, there's no need.
But some are really frustrated.
I'm married to a South African lady. I have a child with her, a girl, and she has 2 other kids, and I'm the one taking care of her other 2 kids with my own child. And I know how tough the burden is to me, and she's not working. And when I get home right now, I'll still be the one to be funding them from home.
So you've been attacked previously?
Yeah, I've been very much, most of the time since 2010 in Rustenburg, when I came new. They took everything. They did everything. You understand?
So are you saying that South African law enforcement failed you in a way because they didn't take that matter forward?
Yeah, those guys, when they came with South African law enforcement agencies.
For many Nigerians living in South Africa, the message remains clear. Safety, solidarity, and unity must come first. From Pretoria, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Well, thanks to Innocent for that report. But joining us now is the president of Ohaneze Ndigbo in South Africa, Dr. Amaechi Okoko. He joins us from South Africa, where he's based. Dr. Okoko, thank you for joining us on the program today. We've just seen, a summary of the protests that happened today. Well, thanks to you for alerting us about as to what was going on, at the Nigerian High Commission in South Africa. Our correspondent was already on the ground before we got to him, and he sent us this report. But you're probably also closer to some of those in the protest. People just want to come home. That's the issue. And this is understandable, but were they appeased by the comforts the words spoken by the acting High Commissioner. Our correspondent did catch some of the opinions there, some of them saying they would wait, and others being a bit more impatient.
Good evening, viewers, and thank you for having me in your program. Of course, it's quite disturbing. We actually have seen a situation where this is a man-made human crisis. And I cannot say it more than what you have seen already. But the issues are we have to take corrections and be able to remediate the situation. We cannot allow these kind of things to continue, whereby it seems Nigeria as a country don't take its citizens for the value of who they are. I mean, citizens are not actually regarded, or they are just treated as if they don't have rights. Can you imagine a situation whereby you want to cancel a flight? You're supposed to know the potential practical difficulties for you to cancel that flight. You're supposed to have made an arrangement, and that flight was canceled just the same day those people were going to we are preparing themselves to fly the next day. So they were sent messages only to arrive. When they arrived, they were told the flight have been canceled. Some came from different places, from far distances, from Pretoria, where they gathered. So you can see, it shows a lot of things that has gone wrong. It's not about our politicians only. There is also the bureaucracy, our administrators have to be indicted in this particular situation. So they need to actually come up and sit up and be able to handle this particular problem. The issue now and I know is not just...
So sorry, Dr. Amechi, for interrupting you here, but I'm seeing bags outside of the High Commission. Does it mean the people have been camped there for days awaiting evacuation?
It's not just they are being kept there. They are not kept there. These people are sleeping outside. In cold wind, in winter cold, harsh winter cold, they are sleeping outside. There is no tent. There is no supplies. The supplies you see there are those that people have to, out of compassion, come up with. This is the kind of arrangement the mission, or let's say the government, could have made to be able to take care of these people. These are human beings. They should not be treated like animals. So the issue is that the bags you see there, those who are standing outside. They are not staying in a place that is enclosed. There's no shelter for these people. They are sleeping outside. It's very, very unacceptable.
So what could happen? What could happen, Dr. Amechi? What could happen if, that June 30 deadline comes, the one that the anti-immigrant protesters have been calling for in South Africa? What could happen if these Nigerians are still in South Africa at the June 30 deadline?
Remember, these people have been rendered, most of them have been rendered undesirable. The moment you are rendered undesirable in the country, you don't have any reason to stay in that country. So for them to have been screened, for them to be prepared to say they are going, they have no business here in South Africa. They are unwelcome. So what will happen in case of the questions you've asked? It will show that our government need to speed up this evacuation. It's not about trying to get everything right. Let me tell you, this is not time for the bureaucracy. This is a time of what we call adrocracy. Adrocracy is whereby you have a fluid approach to problem solving, flexible self-organization. It's not about going through the old playbook, whereby you take your decisions, you try to approval and rules and regulations. No, it has passed that stage because already government have approved this flight. So why our bureaucrats not allowing these things to go smoothly? Even if they come up with all kinds of excuses, even as I'm telling you, most of us don't have confidence that by that June 30th it will happen, because what is happening is that these people are asking which particular date so that they can go and rearrange themselves or try to brace themselves up for what they are looking forward to. But nobody is giving them a specific date. They are being told June 30th.
That brings a lot of anxiety, Dr. Amechi. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to light, and we do hope the federal government is listening and will be doing something about this in the immediate present. Thank you again, Dr. Okuku.
Yeah, well, before you drop, please, I just want to use this opportunity to plead with the federal government to speed up this evacuation. And also, the state diaspora commissions should come to the party in case these people come back. They must welcome them. They must be able to resettle them, not leave everything to federal government. Federal government
I'm
is
sure
trying their
that will
best.
be done. Yeah, I'm sure
Thank you
that
very
will be done.
much.
Thank you again. Well, staying with
Thanks a lot.
deportations from South Africa, more than 3,000 Malawian nationals have now been deported from the country after thousands protested earlier this year in Johannesburg and other parts of the country against illegal immigration that has fueled tensions between locals and foreign nationals. High Commissioner of Malawi to South Africa, Stella Ndau, said we need beg your pardon, since the repatriation started, we have 1,549 that have arrived in Malawi. We have about 1,260 that are en route, and we also have 700 that were deported in. So in total, we have 3,509 Malawians that have been repatriated, and also with the assistance of the South African government, 700 have gone to Malawi. Nigeria is inching closer to its next political milestone. The critical question on youth readiness takes center stage now, addressing the need for several programs taking place across the country, headlined by critical dialogue among young changemakers. One of them is organized by the School of Politics, Policy and Governance in collaboration with Citizens Application for Political Participation at the University of Lagos today. Well, the conversation there brings together grassroots investors and policy advocates who focus on structural political educational reform. Participants will also be discussing the role of Nigeria's massive youth demographic in shaping the country for the upcoming 2027 general elections and long-term democratic future. Well, joining us now is U.S. Africa policy advocate Nkechi Ileche. She joins me now from Washington. Nkechi, great to have you on the program. I guess no better time to talk about elections and governance and politics than now as we prepare for 2027. So how would this program, encourage youth in politics? Because many times their role has been misinterpreted to mean, they're only used for, negative things. I don't want to mention them, but we know how we perceive the youth here during election season.
Thank you so much for having me and taking time to learn about our project. So within the School of Politics, Policy, and Governance, we have our project, which is the Citizens Application and Political Participation app. And so the purpose of this app was to provide civic education, voter education. And I believe that one way to deter youth from being used as intimidation tactics is to constantly educate our youth about their right to vote and the power of their vote. And that's exactly why we have this app. We had this event at Unilag, not only to just tell people to vote, but we have a platform in which they can constantly be educated about civic education, why their vote matters, what their vote means to their future and their generations to come. And so we have this app and these programs to provide that civic education. And what we hope is as people download this app, as they get the information on knowing their leaders, for example, you may know people that are running for elections, but what are they actually saying? How is their vote? How is your voting for them going to build up your future and your community and your generations to come? And so we have this app to do just that, provide civic education.
Yeah. And apart from the app, what else are we doing, or what else are you doing, you and the other groups doing to reinforce the change in mindsets? Because for many youths, it really isn't about the society. They're thinking personally about their own future, and how to make lives better for themselves. But how do we help them to understand that, it's not just about you, it's also about other people as well?
I think the one way is through literally civic education and quite literally understanding how your vote literally impacts your future. Are you well informed about local government and how that impacts your life? Not only general elections and presidency elections, but do you know about local elections and how governorships elections impacts your day-to-day life? And I think that once we start connecting those dots, it would help people to understand, wow, this is why we actually need to vote. This is why we need to take time to realize that these leaders are not, we're not doing them a favor by voting for them, but we have an understanding that when we vote for the people that we vote for, it has a huge impact on our how we eat, our education, our healthcare systems, job opportunities, workforce development. And so I think that opportunities to constantly educate our youth and our communities on why their vote matters is very important in this season. And to be civically engaged even thereafter elections.
Indeed. Nkechi Leche, thank you so much for spending some time with us talking about this. We wish you all of the best. You know, education continues even after the elections. Thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, we're slowly coasting home now. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's Prosperity Party has won a landslide victory in legislative polls held on June 1st. Election Commission made this known on Sunday, giving the party almost 90% of the seats. Mr. Abiy has led Ethiopia since 2018 and is increasingly criticized for growing authoritarianism, in contrast to his early years when he won the Nobel Peace Prize for mending relations with neighboring Eritrea. The PP was considered the overwhelming favorite in the country of 130 million, facing a divided opposition that did not field candidates in many constituencies. Well, we can't talk about, we can't leave the Network Africa without talking about, you know, the FIFA World Cup. Cabo Verde is surprising a lot of people and themselves as well. They erupted in celebration after watching their national team earn another point at the competition, holding Uruguay to a 2-2 draw as supporters gathered for a watch party in Lisbon, Portugal on Sunday. Well, celebrations were all over the place. It was a wild party held after, you know, the match. Flags were waved. People chanted, people danced as the island nation continued its remarkable World Cup debut. Cabo Verde stunned South American powerhouse Uruguay in Miami, scoring the opener through a blistering 32-meter free kick from Kevin Pina. Uruguay first leveled the score with a goal from Maximiliano Araujo and then pulled ahead through Austin Conobio before Cabo Verde's Helio Varela grabbed a share of the spoils with a cool finish after a misplaced pass by Matias Oliveira. Here's our fun fact before we go on the program. Did you know that Africa has approximately 30% of the Earth's remaining mineral resources? Africa has the largest reserves of precious metals, with over 40% of the gold reserves, over 60% of the cobalt, and 90% of the platinum reserves. Africa also has the largest populations of lion, elephant, rhinoceros, cheetah, hyena, leopard, and hundreds of other species. Giraffe, zebra, gorilla, hippopotamus, chimpanzee, and wild beast are unique to Africa and not found in the wild on any other continent on Earth. Africa also has over 25% of the world's bird species. And now you know. That's Network Africa. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani.